So as you all have noticed, I was gone for a bit, about a year and a bit, except for one or two videos, and there was a good reason for that. I mentioned it in a couple of videos already, and this is a mental health walk, as they're called. I just call it a walk. Actually, I should tell you that first. I've been doing this series with a friend called Tour de Meuse. It's a YouTube channel. It's very new. There's not many viewers yet, so go have a look. Nothing to do with audio, although me and my friend behind the camera talk a lot about audio, but a lot to do with us walking. So have a look at Tour de Meuse. There's actually two channels called that, which is annoying. But there was two French people who also did a bike ride with the same name. But you'll find out pretty easily which one's us. So that's our mental health walks that we started doing during COVID to stay sane. And it sort of spiraled into this whole project, which you may or may not enjoy. I think this is mostly one for the people who are watching this channel because they enjoy the presentation more than the theme, or maybe both. Because this is a lot of us talking about what we find on our walks. So this walk is not exactly the prettiest one. It's just one from my town to a town called Roermond, which is a big walk. It's taking me about 4 hours. But I don't mind doing that. I like walking. I don't care that the environment is average. It's just nice to be out and get some sunshine, at least some light, and some exercise, which means I can eat a nice lunch later. Either way, the reason I'm here today is to tell you guys what happened in the last couple of years. Of course, this all had a bit of a run-up. We don't need to go too deeply into that. The long and short is that in 2016 and 17 I had some pretty heavy breakups. And they caused a bit of mayhem. And then I needed 2018 and 19 to sort of recover from those, which I did, which was fine. And then I was like, 2020 is going to be the year where I do all the fun things and where I, grow my YouTube channel and do all of the things that I want to do. And then COVID hit. And of course, COVID seems like a good reason to grow a YouTube channel, but of course nothing was as it was before, and my brain was all over the place. So I did what I could, but it wasn't as successful as I'd hoped, especially because I'd planned loads of trips even to Ukraine, which is particularly painful now, and it just, it was a weird couple of years for all of us. So then 2022 came. I was like, fuck yeah, this is 2020 Mark II, let's do this, let's have all the fun. So I started going on trips and seeing friends, and it was the busiest year in my life. And it was a really good year too. 2022 was awesome, but also didn't see me have a lot of time for my YouTube channel. And then October came and I was in Barcelona. I was actually with my best friend in Barcelona, and she is the most amazing human being and the person I feel the most calm around. So I was just sitting on the couch, chilling with her, at our Airbnb. And I noticed my heart rate was like 120, 130. Well, I'm a walker, so my heart rate is usually pretty low. Like normal for me is high 50s, low 60s. So 120 is double that. And I was like, well, that's weird. Kept me awake. I didn't sleep at all those nights. I managed to have a fun holiday still. Called the doctor right away at the airport. And they were like, can you come today? I was like, I won't make that. Just maybe, but not quite. And they were like, well, first thing tomorrow. So first thing tomorrow I came. Lovely, by the way. I'm really happy about my doctor. I never saw them before, but they're great actually. I went there and my heart rate had by that point returned to normal. As soon as I was home, it was fine again. So they were like, no, everything sounds fine. They actually gave me the little patches as well for a couple of days to see if anything weird was happening. But no, my heart is absolutely fine. But they were like, may want to take it easy. And I thought to myself, considering how my 2022 was, maybe I did do too much. So I started taking it easier. I did about half of what I did. Spoiler alert, by now I do about 20% of what I did. So maybe 30. And that seemed to help a bit. But I noticed that as soon as I was out of the house, I was at friends' places trying to sleep there. I got the same heart rate issues. I've had to go home more than once because of that, because I couldn't sleep. And then I was in a supermarket in, I think, early February 2023. And I knew that supermarket vaguely. I hadn't been there very often. It's a bit of a weird one when it comes to the layout. And I walked in and I was like, how the fuck does this thing work? I just had no idea how to do supermarket anymore. Specifically that one. So I tried to, I couldn't really go back. There was a gate, but it wouldn't open the other way. I was like, okay, try and ground yourself a bit. So let me check where I need to go. Still straight, good. So I was like, I need apples, and I saw apples. So I got some apples, only to find out later that I didn't need apples. And then I went to the second floor. That's why it's a weird supermarket. The first floor is sort of an open plan thing with the fruit in the middle. And there I sort of recognized it again. I was like, okay, I'm okay again. So I went back to my car, drove home. I was like, what the fuck is this? So I immediately called the doctor for psychological help because I was like, something's going wrong here, and also, you know, brain exams and everything appears to be fine. I started seeing a psychologist in May, etc., etc. So that's all rolling now. It took a bit of time. Still seeing her, by the way. But about 2 weeks later, I was at my friend Heidi's place, and I was just having a calm day with her. We just had dinner. We went to the supermarket. We had dinner. We watched a football game, which is not something I normally do. But her boyfriend's from Argentina, and it was Argentina against the Netherlands, and he was watching as well. So he was by then still in Argentina, not anymore, thank goodness. And we figured we'd watch it. It was actually a good game, as far as I can tell. But I noticed the longer the game progressed, the harder of a time I got to hear the TV, because my hearing got mute. I got a screech in my ears, which is something I've had my entire life after a busy day. Like, as soon as I go to bed after a busy day, I hear the screeching in my ears. It's gone the next morning. That's always been a thing. And I got a massive headache and just couldn't focus my eyes properly. I was like, phew. So we went to bed that night because I was supposed to stay the night there. And then the heart rate thing started happening again. I thought to myself, well, you know what? There's no point. It's only an hour of driving. So at 4 a.m. I woke her up. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to go home. So I went home. Heart rate went completely to normal again. And I was like, well, I'm fucked. So that's sort of how it all started. And the symptoms are wild, because the next morning I woke up and the screeching was still there. It never went away. It's still there. It comes and goes. You know, the volume changes, level changes, the pitch changes, but it's always there. My hearing is generally fine, but I have issues seeing double when looking at screens, which is a major issue for editing video. I've had a dizziness where, like, I put my head down and I feel like I'm falling. I've had general confusion, you know, not being able to figure stuff out, just not being able to focus. So learning by now, I can tell you that what I'm suffering from mostly is a combination of first of all, a burnout, but that triggered anxiety. With not panic attacks, but definitely anxiety attacks, where I feel super overwhelmed and everything sort of attacks me and I don't know what to do, you know. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get out now. But my main issue was that I couldn't travel. That really annoyed me, because I couldn't sleep outside the house. I actually went to London in May 2023, and that didn't work, so that was too early. But the trip was already booked, right? Good news is I went back to London last January. Perfect, it went really well. I got a short up of that trip, 2 shorts or 3 shorts even, of that trip on the Tour de Meuse channel. You may want to check. It wasn't with my friend with who I do the walks, but I figured I'd still do a few shorts. So you may want to check those to see a bit of that trip. So that all went very well. And in between, so that was in January, and in October I went to visit my best friend a year after Barcelona. I hadn't seen her in a year. She doesn't really have the space in life to travel much, so I usually go there. And the first day was hellish. The second day was fine. I mean, the second day was fine. I barely slept, but it was fine. But the second night, I slept like a baby. And the same happened in the UK. To such an extent that at some point I was in an underground in the UK, an underground train, which I love, by the way. I love the UK. I love London. And I was sitting in the train. I was like, it felt like my jaw was drooping. And I was like, ooh, let me check that. So maybe I'm getting some, brain thing. So I looked at my phone camera to see myself, and everything was fine. And then I realized it wasn't so much that my jaw was drooping. It was that I had jaw tension for so long that I wasn't used to not having it. And that was back as soon as I was home, so I'm still not sure what explains that. Apparently I should be in the UK, which is fine by me. It's just that I don't really have the money to live in London. But yeah, so I'm discovering a lot about what works, what doesn't work. Generally I need to do just enough. So these days I actually plan like 2 or 3 days a week that are off. Today is actually an off day because it's Easter. I was supposed to walk with my friend today, but he had Easter celebrations. I don't really care. So I'm doing this now. I'm walking to Roermond for lunch, and then I'll take the train back. I have my car parked at the station. So today I'm walking, but generally I take days off, 2 or 3 a week. When I have had a busy period, I take more time off, and that sort of works. But I also noticed if I do too little, the symptoms are the same as doing too much. So I get the dizziness and the seeing double and the headaches and everything. I also stopped drinking coffee, which was so hard for the first 6-7 days. Then it got okay. Takes about, if you ever want to do that, it takes about 9 or 10 days to get completely okay. Of course I still drink coffee, but it's decaf now. I'm a bit of a coffee fan, so I have decaf beans, which are actually getting really good. There's no shame in those. Watch the James Hoffman video on that. Here's a cyclist coming. That's going to be a bit tight. Let's see how this is going to work out. He didn't look like he wanted to greet me. Oh well. So sports cyclists generally don't in the Netherlands. Beautiful fence, isn't it? As I said, this isn't the prettiest walk. I don't care. It's about the walk. I love walking. I love seeing the changing environment. You know, there's houses here and there's a gas station there. I'm easily entertained. It's also because I'm a photographer. So I look at things in images. It's just fun. Even if it's ugly, it's fun. Either way, that's sort of the long and short of that. That's sort of how I completely crashed and had to sort of regain control over my brain. And I would like to leave you with some words of advice. It's actually kind of a cool gas station. It's very retro. It's like very 1983. If you ever have a busy period in life and you get that voice in your head that's like, is this still reasonable? Am I not doing too much? But you're feeling fine? You're doing too much. If you get that idea like, oh, I should really start taking it easy after such and such, you're doing too much. My screen just went off. Is that, how do I turn it back on? Oh, yeah, there we are. Okay. Sorry, this is a DJI Action 4. I'm still used to my GoPro. This thing is great, by the way. But I'm still getting used to how it works. So if you ever get that hey, I don't know why you waved at me, but someone waved at me. I think they think I'm a famous YouTuber. Well, almost 3,000 followers now, right? They were in an old Toyota, so that's kind of fun. Walking into a town, as you can tell, it's getting a bit busier. Here's a big old friendly waving at me. Hey, hey. So yeah, anyway, that got me slightly off track. This roundabout, going straight, right. So if you ever get that feeling of being like, this is reasonably too much, and you look at your calendar, you're like, what the fuck, how am I even managing with this? You're not. You're just not. And you can tell from people who are like artists and such, you know, they resort to doing drugs and to overworking and to crashing and to weird stuff, because the brain can only handle so much. So please take care of yourself. And make sure you don't overdo it, because it's going to cost you way more time than it will gain. I'm gonna have to look at the map here because I have 0 sense of direction. I think it wants me to go there, but I'm not completely sure. 1, 2, 3, yes. So yeah, that's my mental health awareness message for you. Also, here's a big one. If you feel anything that doesn't seem right, talk to friends, talk to people, talk to family. Just talk about it. People will make you feel like it's not all that weird, and people will recognize bits of what's going on, and that will definitely calm your brain down a bit, and that's definitely good for you in such moments. Anxiety is really hard to explain. I still don't quite understand what it is, how it works, or how to recognize it, but it's definitely something that happens to all of us, one way or another. Now I see a cat. I actually don't have ADHD, I just really like cats and dogs and animals. So you probably have it in you somewhere, and make sure it doesn't explode, because it ain't fun. And with that, as you can see, I'm actually mostly editing old videos now, just to give you guys something to look at, which really works. The viewership's going up massively, which really surprises me. Apparently those speed test things are liked. I mean, I already got that from the responses, but I'm now seeing it from the numbers. I've actually gained about 400 followers in 2 months. So that's awesome. Chicken. So many animals walking around here, and sheep as well. And alpaca. I mean, what more could you want? Turns out all of those sheep are alpacas as well. You probably can't see them, it's very wide angle, but there's the alpacas. Here's 2 chickens. And yeah, I'm about 1.5 hours in. I still need about 2.5 hours of walking to get to my destination. Which is nice, the weather should stay dry. Yeah, this is my mental health walk, or just a walk. I recommend you do the same, doesn't matter how short or long they are. If the weather's okay-ish, get out, have a little walk, even if it's just half an hour, take some photos, whatever. Walk to lunch, whichever works for where you are. And keep an eye on yourself, because we're all human and we all have brains that can fail. And this is why I was gone for a bit of time, but I'm picking up the slack and sort of regaining control. It still goes wrong all the time, where I'm like, oh, today is not the day and then I can't do anything. Or I can do something, but then the day after is even worse. So listen to yourself, even no matter how faint the voice in your head may be telling you to take it easy. Listen to it, because you waste a lot of time in a burnout and in anxiety. And if you can prevent that, that's awesome. So with that, I wish you all a great day. Back to the regular program, and I think I did this in one take. So I'm just gonna add some footage of the walk and throw this on the YouTubes for everyone to see. And maybe it gets views and maybe it doesn't, but hey, you never know how you may help someone by just saying, what you're experiencing is burnout or anxiety or whatever. And let it be known that the symptoms of these things can be extremely physical. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get yourself checked out physically, because you should, because you know you want to make sure you're healthy. But don't panic too quickly if you feel like, you know, your brain is collapsing. It may just be completely overwhelmed. Take it easy, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the future video. Bye bye.